The giant ships appeared without warning. One moment, Earth's skies were normal. The next, 7 massive vessels hung above major cities around the world. They were smooth and silver, shaped like arrowheads, and each one larger than the biggest human spacecraft ever built. It was the year 2150, and humanity had already spread to Mars and Europa. People had been looking to the stars for generations, wondering if they were alone. Now they had their answer. The world held its breath for 3 days while the ships just watched. No messages, no movement. Global leaders called emergency meetings. Military forces went on high alert. Common people either hid in their homes or gathered in streets, staring up at the visitors. On the 4th day, a smaller ship detached from the largest vessel and descended toward Geneva, where the United Earth government had its headquarters. The ship landed gently in the central plaza. A door opened, revealing beings that looked somewhat like tall, thin humans with iridescent skin that shifted colors in the sunlight. President Samantha Powell stood at the front of the welcoming committee, flanked by her council members. She wore the simple blue uniform of Earth leadership, her gray hair pulled back tightly, face showing calm despite the historic pressure. "I am High Ambassador Zix Toril of the Galactic Concord," the tallest alien said in perfect English. "We represent 27 advanced species who share this region of space. We have come to officially welcome humanity to the galactic community." The meeting moved inside the Geneva headquarters. The main hall had been prepared with special chairs to accommodate the visitors' unusual height. Screens around the room displayed the meeting to billions watching worldwide. Ambassador Zix Toril spoke at length about the Concord's history and achievements. The alien described vast networks of planets, incredible technologies, and peaceful cooperation. But as the meeting continued, Council Member William Grant became increasingly uncomfortable. Grant was a former military commander, his weathered face and alert eyes missing nothing. He noticed how the ambassador slightly stressed certain words, how the alien delegates exchanged glances at specific moments. "The Concord offers Earth protection and guidance," Zix Toril explained, displaying holograms of beautiful alien cities. "As a protectorate species, you will benefit from our technologies, our knowledge, and our protection." "And what would Earth provide in return?" President Powell asked. The ambassador's skin rippled briefly blue. "Minor resource quotas. Nothing your planet cannot easily supply. And of course, military matters would fall under Concord jurisdiction. For your own safety." "For how long would Earth be a protectorate?" Grant asked, his deep voice cutting through the room. "A standard period of 300 Earth years," the ambassador replied. "A mere moment in galactic politics." Grant leaned forward. "And if we prefer a partnership of equals instead?" The ambassador's skin darkened. "Your technology is quaint. Your understanding of the galaxy primitive. The Concord has protocols. All new species begin as protectorates." "We need time to consider your proposal," President Powell said diplomatically. "This is a decision that affects all of humanity." "Of course," Zix Toril replied. "You have 1 week. We are also obligated to inform you that refusal would mean Earth remains isolated from established trade routes and galactic protection." After the aliens left the room, the council erupted in heated debate. "They're threatening us," Grant said. "This isn't an offer, it's an ultimatum." "We don't know that," replied another council member. "This could be standard procedure." President Powell remained quiet, thinking. Something about the ambassador's carefully chosen words bothered her. She looked at Grant and saw her own concerns reflected in his eyes. "Let's not make assumptions," she finally said. "But we will investigate further before making any decision. I want to know exactly what we're dealing with." Outside, the alien ships loomed overhead, silent and watchful. The clock was ticking on humanity's biggest decision. The week had begun. Kevin Hartman walked through the underground facility 20 levels below the Geneva headquarters. As Earth's top intelligence agent, he had access to areas most government officials didn't know existed. The white walls and bright lights gave nothing away about the secrets being uncovered within. 3 days had passed since the meeting with the Galactic Concord. 3 days of intense work to learn the truth behind their offer. "Show me what you found," Kevin said to his team of analysts who had been working nonstop. Ellie Wright, his deputy, pointed to the large screen on the wall. "We intercepted communications between the Concord ships. Their encryption was advanced, but not unbreakable." The screen filled with strange symbols that quickly translated to English. "They're very interested in our water," Ellie explained. "Earth has more liquid water than 90% of inhabited planets in their records, and our position near this section of uncharted space makes Earth strategically valuable." Kevin's eyes narrowed. They didn't mention any of this in the official meeting. "There's more," said another analyst, bringing up different files. "Look at these transmissions to their home systems. They refer to Earth as Resource Acquisition Target 7 to 19. Not exactly how you describe a potential ally." Across the city, Dr. Olivia Warren made her own discovery. As one of Earth's leading xenobiologists, she had been granted access to medical data the Concord had shared, supposedly as a gesture of goodwill. She sat in her lab, surrounded by holographic displays showing alien anatomies and biological data. "This can't be right," she muttered, comparing human DNA patterns with those of Concord species. She ran the analysis again with the same results. She grabbed her secure phone and called the direct line to President Powell. "Madam President, I found something you need to see immediately." An hour later, Powell, Grant, Hartman, and Dr. Warren gathered in a secure conference room. "Humans have unusual qualities the Concord hasn't encountered before," Dr. Warren explained, showing complex genetic diagrams. "Our ability to adapt genetically is unprecedented in their records, and our resilience to radiation is off their charts. They're scientifically fascinated by us, but also afraid." "Afraid?" President Powell asked. "Our adaptability means we evolve faster than other species. Their records suggest they believe we could eventually surpass them technologically, and they don't like that possibility." Kevin Hartman stepped forward. "There's worse news." He brought up images of planets with unfamiliar landscapes. "These are worlds of species that joined the Concord as protectorates." Before and after images. The images shifted, showing the same worlds years later. Green continents had become barren. Oceans had shrunk. Cities had been replaced by massive mining operations. "They stripped the planets of resources," Kevin explained. "Meanwhile, the native populations are gradually moved to artificial habitats, supposedly for their own good." William Grant cursed quietly. "How many species have they done this to?" "At least 7 that we've confirmed," Kevin replied. "The Concord isn't a peaceful alliance. It's an empire that consumes." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. The silence was broken by an urgent message. A communication officer's face appeared on screen. "Madam President, the Concord ambassador is demanding an immediate audience. They know we've accessed their communications." President Powell looked at each person in the room. Their faces showed concern, but also determination. "Tell Ambassador Zix, Toril will meet tomorrow morning," she said. "We need tonight to prepare our response." "What response?" asked Dr. Warren. "They have technology far beyond ours. If we refuse them, they could destroy us." William Grant shook his head. "If we accept, they'll destroy us anyway, just more slowly. We need a third option." "We'll find one," President Powell said firmly. "Humanity didn't come this far to become someone else's resource. Contact all Earth colonies and military commands. Everyone needs to be ready for what comes next." Outside, the massive alien ships continued their silent watch, unaware that their true intentions had been discovered. The broadcast reached every screen on Earth and its colonies. People gathered in homes and public spaces, watching with tense faces. Students stopped classes. Workers paused their jobs. Everyone knew this moment would change human history forever. President Samantha Powell stood tall behind a simple podium. Behind her, the Earth flag hung beside a new banner showing all human settlements in the solar system united as one. The room was filled with global leaders and press, but Powell looked directly into the camera. "People of Earth and her colonies, today I speak to you and to our visitors from the stars," she began. Her voice was calm but firm. "After careful consideration of the Galactic Concord's proposal, we have reached our decision." In orbit, Ambassador Zix Toril and other Concord officials watched from their command ship. Their skin colors shifted between blue and green, showing their confidence. None of them doubted what the answer would be. New species always accepted their terms. "The United Earth government appreciates the Concord's offer," Powell continued. "However, we must respectfully decline the terms of protectorate status." In the Concord ship, colors flashed across alien skin in waves of surprise. "Instead," Powell said, "Earth proposes a different relationship. We offer partnership. We bring unique resources, perspectives, and abilities that could benefit the Concord as equals. We wish to join the galactic community standing on our own feet, not kneeling." Ambassador Zix Toril's skin turned dark red. The other officials moved away slightly, as if the ambassador's anger might be dangerous. "This is humanity's formal response," Powell concluded. "We remain open to further discussion on terms of equal partnership. We sincerely hope the Concord values potential allies as much as it values obedience." The broadcast ended. Within minutes, the Concord requested an immediate meeting. An hour later, Ambassador Zix Toril stood before the Earth Council, skin still tinged with red. "You misunderstand your position," the ambassador said. "The Concord's offer was generous. No new species begins as an equal. It is simply not done." "Perhaps it's time for change," President Powell suggested. "Your arrogance is remarkable," Zix Toril replied. "You know nothing of galactic politics or dangers. Without our protection, you face isolation at best, extinction at worst." William Grant stepped forward. "We've studied your records, Ambassador. We know what happens to protectorate species. We know about the stripped planets and relocated populations." The ambassador's skin went completely white. "You accessed classified information." "We protected our interests," Grant replied calmly. "Just as you protected yours by placing stealth satellites around our planet while pretending to negotiate in good faith." The ambassador's mouth opened slightly, but no words came. The other Concord officials looked at each other nervously. "The Earth does not respond well to threats," President Powell said. "But our offer of partnership remains open. Consider it carefully before your next move." The ambassador's voice became cold. "There will be consequences for this arrogance. The Concord has existed for millennia. Your civilization is barely out of its cradle." With those words, the Concord delegation left. From his position at Earth Space Command, Lieutenant Peter Dawson tracked the Concord ships as they moved away from Earth, apparently leaving the solar system. But his specialized equipment detected something else. "Sir," he called to his commander, "the main ships are leaving, but they're deploying something. Small objects, maybe a meter across, settling into high orbit. They have some kind of cloaking technology, but our new sensors can detect them." "How many?" his commander asked. "Dozens so far. They're positioning them to cover all major population centers." The commander immediately sent the information to military leadership. "Keep tracking them, but don't let them know we can see their toys." Back in Geneva, President Powell received the report. She looked at Grant. "Now we know their answer," she said. "How long until we're ready?" "Not long enough," Grant admitted, "but longer than they think." Powell nodded. "Then we'll have to be smarter than they expect. Send the coded message to all Earth forces and colonies. Operation False Sleep begins now." 6 months passed quietly. The Concord ships had left the solar system. On the surface, Earth returned to normal life. Farms grew food. Factories made goods. Children went to school. The Concord became yesterday's news for many people. But below the surface, humanity prepared. On a Tuesday morning, without warning, it began. The stealth satellites around Earth activated all at once. They released powerful electromagnetic pulses over major cities. Communications went down. Power grids failed. Screens went dark. In the Concord command ship, now hiding behind Jupiter's moon Europa, Ambassador Zix Toril watched the data with satisfaction. "The humans will panic now," the ambassador told the gathered officers. "Their primitive systems are completely vulnerable to our technology. Their military will be blind and deaf. They will have no choice but to call for our help." "What if they don't call for help?" asked the junior officer. "They will," Zix Toril replied confidently. "And when they do, we will graciously offer protection, under our original terms, of course. If they refuse again, their chaos will justify our intervention to save them from themselves." But as the hours passed, something unexpected happened. Earth did not call for help. More surprising, their systems began coming back online much faster than the Concord had calculated. In Washington, D.C., backup power systems hidden underground activated within minutes of the attack. In London, Paris, Beijing, and other major cities, the same thing happened. Emergency communications networks, separate from the main systems and hardened against electromagnetic attacks, connected government and military leaders. President Powell addressed the world through these emergency channels. "Citizens of Earth, we are under attack by the Galactic Concord, but we are prepared. Stay calm and follow your local emergency protocols. This is not a drill." In orbit, Lieutenant Peter Dawson and his team activated defenses they had secretly prepared. From hidden bases on the moon, energy weapons targeted the stealth satellites. One by one, the alien devices went dark. On Mars Colony, Commander Alan Pierce received the emergency signal and initiated the Mars Defense Network. Massive cannons, disguised as mining equipment, emerged from the red soil. They aimed toward space, ready to protect the colony from any approaching Concord ships. Back in the Concord command ship, confusion spread as reports came in. "Impossible," muttered Zix Toril, looking at the data. "Their systems should be down for days, not hours, and how are they disabling our satellites? Their weapons shouldn't be advanced enough." "Ambassador," said the communications officer, "the humans are broadcasting a message to us." On screen, President Powell appeared, looking calm and determined. "Galactic Concord, we have detected and neutralized your attack. This was an act of war against a peaceful civilization that only wished for equal treatment. Despite this, we will not respond with immediate aggression. We give you one chance to open honest negotiations as equals. We await your response." The message ended. The Concord officers looked to Zix Toril, who was now pale blue with rage. "They dare to speak to us like this. They are nothing. Prepare the fleet for direct engagement. We will show them the full might of the Concord." The Concord fleet of 15 warships emerged from behind Europa and headed toward Earth. They expected to find a weakened planet, easy to intimidate or conquer. Instead, as they approached Earth orbit, they detected energy signatures unlike anything they had anticipated. Earth's orbital platforms, previously appearing to be simple research stations, now revealed weapon systems that locked onto the approaching ships. The first wave of Concord vessels moved to establish a blockade around Earth. Their commanders followed standard protocol for subduing primitive worlds, expecting minimal resistance. The lead Concord ship fired a warning shot toward an Earth platform. The platform responded immediately. Its energy weapons hit the Concord ship with surprising accuracy and power. The Concord vessel's shields flared bright, and then failed. A second shot disabled its engines. Similar scenes played out across Earth orbit. The supposedly primitive human weapons were cutting through Concord defenses much too easily. "Retreat," ordered the Concord fleet commander. "All ships, pull back beyond their weapons range." As the Concord fleet withdrew, urgent messages flew to their high command. Something was very wrong. Humanity was not following the script. For the first time in centuries, the Concord faced an unexpected problem, and they had no idea how much worse it was about to get. The Grand Council of the Galactic Concord met in an emergency session. Representatives from 27 species gathered in a vast chamber with rising tiers of seats. Holograms showed the recent battle near Earth, playing on repeat for all to see. "This is unacceptable," said Counselor Vrek, a tall, spindly being from a desert world. "We were told humans were primitive, yet they disabled our fleet with ease." Zix stood in the center of the chamber, skin shifting between colors of anger and embarrassment. It appears they hid their true capabilities, a dishonorable tactic. "Like hiding satellites around their planet during peace talks?" asked another counselor. Murmurs spread through the chamber. A small green-skinned being named Moru moved forward. As Zix aide, she had been part of all the Earth negotiations. With shaking hands, she activated a hologram showing private meetings between Zix and military leaders. "The humans were right to prepare," Moru said, her voice barely above a whisper. "The ambassador planned their subjugation from the beginning. This was never about protecting a new species." Shocked voices filled the chamber. Zix lunged for Moru, but was held back by guards. The evidence was clear. The attack on Earth had been planned long before humans rejected the Concord's offer. While the Concord argued among themselves, Earth continued its work. In a lab beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Gregory Bennett led a team studying captured pieces of Concord technology. They had recovered parts from the disabled satellites and the damaged Concord ship. "Look at this," Dr. Bennett said, pointing to a glowing engine component. "Their propulsion system uses principles we theorized but never implemented. If we can understand this, we can match their speed." His team worked day and night. Engineers, physicists, and computer experts pooled their knowledge. What might have taken decades in peacetime happened in weeks under the pressure of war. In space, Captain Lisa Murray stood on the bridge of the Defiance, Earth's first deep space carrier built with the new technology. The sleek ship incorporated both human innovation and reverse-engineered Concord systems. "All systems ready," Captain reported her first officer. "Begin jump sequence," she ordered. The Defiance disappeared from the solar system in a flash of light. Its mission: to find other species who might help Earth against the Concord. Meanwhile, the Concord launched a ground invasion of Earth's largest lunar colony. 5,000 Concord troops landed, expecting to easily capture the 3,000 humans living there. Colonel Joseph Reeves watched the Concord ships land from his hidden command post. Unlike Earth with its oceans and forests, the Moon offered little natural cover. So they had created artificial cover. The colony buildings visible from orbit were mostly empty. The real colony was underground, with hidden entrances and exit points across the lunar surface. "Let them get comfortable," Reeves told his officers. "Then we show them how humans fight." The Concord troops secured the empty buildings and reported an easy victory. Their commanders relaxed, thinking the humans had fled. That night, Reeves led the first strike. His soldiers emerged from hidden tunnels, attacked specific targets, and disappeared again before the Concord could respond. They avoided direct confrontation, instead damaging equipment, disrupting communications, and creating confusion. For 2 weeks, this continued. The Concord forces couldn't sleep. They couldn't predict where the next attack would come. Their superior numbers meant nothing against an enemy that refused to fight on their terms. When the Concord finally captured a small group of human soldiers, they expected to gain information through interrogation. Instead, they were shocked again. The human prisoners were given medical treatment and kept in decent conditions, following Earth's laws of war. This confused the Concord soldiers, who had been told humans were barbaric. Word of this treatment reached other Concord troops. Some began to question what they had been told about humans. Others wondered why. If the Concord was truly superior, they needed to conquer this species at all. The Lunar Campaign became the Concord's first major military defeat in centuries. More importantly, it became a turning point in how many Concord soldiers viewed the war and the humans they were fighting. News traveled quickly through the galaxy. The stories spread from world to world, ship to ship. Humans, a species that should have been easily controlled, had fought the mighty Concord to a standstill. The impossible had happened. On the planet Teller, a race of blue-skinned beings heard these stories with growing interest. The Tellarians had been under Concord rule for 300 years. They watched as their forests were cut down and their minerals were taken away on giant ships. They had forgotten how to fight, how to resist. Until now. If humans can stand against them, why can't we? Asked Kor, a Tellarian leader, to his people gathered in a secret cave. The crowd murmured in agreement. Similar meetings happened on other worlds. The Anxvoro, insect-like beings known for their engineering skills, began sabotaging Concord mining equipment. The Cantari, a species with natural camouflage abilities, started disappearing from their assigned work camps. For the first time in centuries, the Concord faced rebellion on multiple fronts. They diverted ships and soldiers from the Earth campaign to deal with these unexpected problems. Earth monitored these developments through its growing network of spies and communication intercepts. President Powell saw an opportunity. It's time for the next phase, she told her advisors. We need to connect with these other species. Ambassador Nathan Brooks volunteered to lead the mission. A diplomat with 30 years of experience, he understood the risk. If the Concord captures us, there won't be any rescue, he said. We know, President Powell replied, but the potential rewards outweigh the dangers. Captain Lisa Murray's ship, the Defiance, carried Brooks and his team to the rebel worlds. Using the stealth technology they had developed, they slipped past Concord patrols. Their first contact was with the Tellarians. The meeting was tense at first. The blue-skinned aliens had never seen humans before, and centuries of Concord oppression had made them cautious of strangers. How do we know you aren't working with the Concord? Asked Kor. Ambassador Brooks showed him videos of the battles around Earth and the Moon. We fight the same enemy, he said. We seek allies, not subjects. This simple truth resonated with the Tellarians. After centuries of being told what to do, the idea of true partnership appealed to them deeply. Over the next month, humans helped the Tellarians reactivate ancient defense systems buried beneath their oldest cities, systems the Concord thought had been disabled generations ago. When Concord ships arrived to put down the Tellarian rebellion, they were met with unexpected resistance. Weapons fired from the planet's surface, destroying 2 ships and damaging several others. The shocked Concord forces retreated. Meanwhile, Earth medics traveled to Anxvoro, treating civilians injured in Concord reprisals. The insect-like beings were moved by this kindness from strangers. They shared their advanced engineering knowledge with the humans in return. Within 3 months, an alliance formed between the rebels. They called themselves the Free Systems Alliance, with Earth as a key member. Human diplomats traveled between worlds, coordinating resistance efforts and sharing technology. Back in the Concord's central worlds, the ruling council faced growing problems. Reports of defeats and rebellions arrived daily. Several member species withdrew support for the war, citing moral objections and resource concerns. This is becoming too costly, said Councillor Vrek. We spent more resources in 6 months fighting humans than we gained from some worlds in decades. Another counselor activated a secure channel. There's something else. Information has been leaking throughout our systems. Many of our people now know that our military capabilities were exaggerated. Our dominance relied more on fear than actual superiority. Zix Toril, now under investigation for the deception exposed by Aid Moru, watched helplessly as control slipped away. The ambassador had promised an easy victory over primitives. Instead, they faced the greatest challenge in Concord history, and on distant worlds, ships bearing the new symbol of the Free Systems Alliance prepared for their next move against the weakening empire. 2 years after the Concord's first attack on Earth, Admiral Susan Reynolds stood on the bridge of the Freedom, humanity's most advanced warship. Around her, a fleet of 30 Earth vessels prepared for their most daring mission yet. All ships report ready, Admiral, said her second in command. Susan nodded. At 45, She had spent her career preparing for space conflicts that most people never thought would happen. Now she would lead Operation Lighthouse, humanity's boldest move in the war. "Begin jump sequence," she ordered. "May we all come home safely." The fleet disappeared from Earth's space in flashes of light. When they reappeared, they were spread across Concord territory, emerging near 5 key Concord worlds simultaneously. On the Concord homeworld of Vespida, citizens looked up in shock as Earth ships appeared in their skies. They had been told the humans were contained, that the war was going well. Now enemy vessels hung above their capital city. Similar scenes played out across the Concord. On each world, the human ships activated powerful broadcast systems. They didn't fire weapons. Instead, they transmitted images and information, the truth about the Concord's leadership and their deceptions. "People of the Concord," said President Powell in the broadcast, "we do not come to attack your worlds or harm your people. We come to share the truth your leaders have hidden from you." The broadcast showed evidence of the Concord's exploitation of protectorate species. They revealed how Concord leaders had lied about military capabilities. Most damaging, they showed secret recordings of Zix Toril and other officials planning to strip Earth of resources while relocating humans to artificial habitats. The Concord's elite armada rushed to respond. Their largest fleet surrounded Admiral Reynolds' ships near Vespida. The Concord commander sent a simple message: "Surrender or be destroyed." Susan's fleet was outnumbered 3-1 by traditional military thinking. They should retreat. Instead, she implemented battle plans that no one outside Earth had ever seen. Her ships moved in patterns that confused Concord targeting systems. They used short-range jumps to appear and disappear within the battle space. They coordinated attacks with perfect timing that allowed smaller ships to disable much larger vessels. The battle was being transmitted live across the galaxy. Billions watched as the supposedly primitive humans outmaneuvered the Concord's best ships. Admiral Reynolds became an instant legend when her flagship survived direct hits that should have destroyed it, then disabled the Concorde command ship with a precision strike. On Earth, civilian scientist Ryan Cooper worked with a team of linguists and engineers in a different kind of battle. They had developed a new technology that could break through the Concorde's information control systems. "It's working," Ryan said, watching data flow across his screens. "Our signal is reaching ordinary citizens on 17 Concorde worlds so far." His technology allowed direct communication between humans and regular people of all Concorde species. For generations, the Concorde leadership had controlled what information their citizens received. Now that wall was breaking down. The truth spread quickly. Ordinary Concorde citizens learned about the exploitation of protectorate worlds. They discovered how their leaders had started the war with Earth through deception and aggression. Most importantly, they learned that humans had repeatedly offered peace despite Concorde attacks. Across Concorde space, military personnel began questioning orders. Some ships refused to fire on human vessels. Others directly defected, turning their weapons against loyal Concorde forces. A Concorde captain named Kralvex made the most dramatic statement when he ordered his battle cruiser to position itself between human ships and attacking Concorde vessels. His message was broadcast to all channels: "No more. This war is based on lies, and I will not sacrifice my crew for the deceptions of our leaders." As Operation Lighthouse concluded its 4th day, what had begun as a military strike had transformed into a revolution. The Concorde wasn't just fighting humans anymore. It was fighting itself. The Galactic Concord collapsed faster than anyone expected. After 27 centuries of dominance, it took only 6 weeks for the government to fall. Citizens on dozens of worlds took to the streets demanding change. Military units refused orders. Trade stopped. The once mighty empire crumbled from within. Zix Toril and other hardline leaders were removed from power by their own people. Some fled to distant worlds. Others faced trials for their actions. The age of deception was over. A new delegation arrived at Earth. Their ships were unarmed, carrying white flags, an ancient human symbol they had adopted to show peaceful intentions. The delegation was led by Krelvex, the Concord captain who had defected during the final battles. "We come seeking genuine peace," Krelvex announced as his shuttle landed in Geneva. "Not as conquerors or superiors, but as equals hoping to make amends." President Powell welcomed them to the Geneva Peace Hall, the same room where Zix Toril had first presented the Concord's false offer 3 years earlier. The contrast was striking. Where the first meeting had been full of hidden threats and deception, this one began with honest acknowledgement of past wrongs. "The former Concord leadership regrets many things," said Krelvex, "but their greatest regret should be forcing humanity to reject their false peace. If they had offered true partnership from the beginning, so much suffering could have been avoided." The negotiations lasted for weeks. Representatives from the Free Systems Alliance joined the talks. The Talarians, the Anaxphoro, the Cantari, and a dozen other formerly oppressed species worked alongside humans and reformed Concord representatives to create something new. Earth's terms surprised many. There were no demands for surrender or massive reparations. Instead, President Powell proposed a new framework, the Terran Accords. "We seek a galaxy based on 3 principles," she explained. "Sovereignty for all species, fair trade between worlds, mutual defense against common threats." The principles were simple, but revolutionary in a galaxy that had known only Concord dominance for so long. Each world would govern itself. Resources would be traded, not taken, and all would come to the aid of any world under attack. 5 years after the Concord ships first appeared over Earth, the galaxy had transformed. The former Concord species, initially resentful of their reduced status, gradually came to respect humanity, not for military might, but for showing a different way to coexist. Earth became the diplomatic center of known space. The old Concord capital on Vespida became a museum dedicated to remembering the past to avoid repeating it. Human adaptability and innovative thinking became highly valued throughout the galaxy. Mixed crews of humans and aliens worked together on projects that benefited all worlds. What began in war ended in an unexpected peace more beneficial than anyone could have imagined. Captain Daniel Morris stood on the bridge of the Explorer, the first mixed-species vessel dedicated purely to discovery rather than defense or trade. His crew included humans and members of 12 other species, including some from the former Concord leadership races. "Final preparations complete," Captain reported his first officer, a Talarian named Lyra. "We're ready to venture beyond the mapped regions." Daniel nodded. As the officer who had fired the first defensive shots against the Concord invasion years ago, he found it fitting that he now led a peaceful mission. He looked around at his diverse crew, each member bringing unique skills and perspectives. "Let's see what's out there," he said. The Explorer moved away from the space station orbiting Earth. Its mission represented the new galactic order, creatures from across known space working together to explore rather than conquer. In the observation lounge, a Vespidian crew member watched Earth grow smaller as they departed. He had once served in the Concord fleet that attempted to subjugate humanity. Now he served alongside them, still occasionally amazed by how completely everything had changed. The galactic leaders who once sought to rule humanity now worked beside them as equals. Their greatest regret, humanity's rejection of their false peace, had indeed become the galaxy's salvation.